This is my Matthews Precision 1340 GT lathe. The 1340 means that it will swing 13 inches over the tops of the ways, and the 40 will run 40 inches between centers when the tailstock's pushed all the way back. It has power feed. It has power feed on both the long and the cross axes. I purchased a quick change tool holder system for it and a series of tool holders. I'm not actually planning on selling the quick change tool holder and the tool holders themselves with the machine, because my intentions are to buy another lathe, and I've got a lot invested in all my tooling. But this is a nice little engine lathe. I mean, you can just tell by the sound of it when I start the spindle. And you can change the feeds and the speeds off of these levers on the headstock end of it here. I purchased the digital readout, and I had them install it, so that will go with the lathe. And that's really nice because it has offsets. And if I use that tool right there, let's say an offset 1, when I get it sized in, I can store those values, and they're absolute. So I can turn the machine off and turn it back on tomorrow, put that tool holder back in there, go back to offset 1, and my values are still there. And then I can set it for offset number 2, offset number 3, and so forth. I purchased the stand with it, instead of building my own. So the lathe itself is about a 1-ton package with the stands. Got these 2 end cabinets, and then there's a centerpiece that bolts onto it. Now, this is a 3-phase lathe, and so you'll need 3-phase power. I have a rotary phase converter, but unless the price is right, I'm not planning on selling the rotary phase converter, because I have another 3-phase piece of equipment and I need that for that. Okay, but that rotary phase converter probably would cost you about $350 for that. And it's not a solid state. You don't want a solid state rotary phase converter. It actually has like a Beldar motor underneath of the lathe on the back side without a shaft on it. And so when you start the rotary phase converter, it actually starts that motor, and that's what generates the 3rd phase. So it's a nice machine. It really is. My background's manufacturing. I've ran engine lathes, turret lathes, numerical control lathes. I've programmed numerical control lathes, and so I've got chips in my blood. And but that's my package. It's a Precision Matthews 1340 GT. They call it a gunsmithing lathe. Oh, and I also purchased a micro stop, so that you can set the move that along, clamp that down, and you can set that so that when you're feeding up against it, and you come up, you wouldn't want to come up against it with the power feed on, but you disengage the power feed, then you can turn the handle until you stop up against there. Okay, and it also has a bed gap. So this is 13 inches across the ways, but if you take those 4 bolts out of there, there's 2 in the front, 2 in the back, then it gives you a little bit bigger swing than it does with the bed gap in place. So, all right.